Welcome to the AWcast. I was going to say today is the awesome cast. We had a couple of great album drops just over the past couple of weeks, so we were all feeling great and stoked for the show. However, we had to reschedule the recording of this podcast once, and now I'm the only one left on the show, basically, to record. No Josh, no Koji, sorry. It's just me doing some drunk, schizophrenic rambling. Well, not drunk, but some schizophrenic Bill Burr style type rambling, it seems. So this might just be a precursor for the future if this ever happens again. If not all of us can make it, then, to test this out, this will be the test the waters, and you can skip the episode in the future if you don't like this kind of style. So, yeah. So bear with me, I'll still try to do my best, but without further ado, let's start the podcast with some music news. And so the first news I have, I don't have to introduce any of my guests. In 1 second, check level. Yeah, I think we're good. Okay, so it is 1:12 right now. Let's do that. Okay, so more and more people are buying cassette tapes than CDs lately. That's in the news. I actually got that recommended from my dad because he's got a bunch of cassettes. So cool stuff. Shout out my father. But yeah, there's this article. Apparently Tame Impala, certain artists are starting to do more cassette stuff. So vinyl was a huge thing. It's aesthetically pleasing, and so is cassettes apparently. I guess this is going to be a big thing. This is going to be such a weird show. I have no one to bounce ideas off of, no one to talk to. This is so weird. I'll just say what I think about it, I guess, and you just get one-sided opinions. Okay. Let's also start out with a timer. I'm just eating into the time, boys, eating into the time. Starting that. Maybe we'll just do a half-hour show this time. Whatever, I'm just going to release something. This will be a bad episode. So, yeah, cassettes, the only reason I could see people buying cassettes is just for that aesthetic value. Like, the reason they buy them over CDs is, like CDs, you can get the same exact quality with, streaming rips. It's still the 441 hertz across most streaming platforms. I think YouTube Music kind of downplays stuff if it has a video, or at least they used to. And now they've been upgrading their sound quality a bit, especially with video now that you can do 4K and all that. I don't know how the audio's doing, but I know like Spotify and all those platforms, you still get good CD quality. It doesn't have to be any more or any less, which is good. Also, any links to stuff. So the link about this, I'll just put it in the subject line below. I'm going to read this one kind of like a radio show, I guess. Like radio pauses and stuff. Maybe, we'll see. I'm testing things out. As you can see, I have no clue what I'm doing. And this might be the worst episode yet. I have a 50-50 shot of it being the worst episode because it is the second episode, but so tapes, I guess tape players might be coming back. People will be refurbishing those, I'm sure. If you have like a cassette player in your car, maybe people will go back into stealing those. They used to be a thing, stealing, cassette players out of people's cars, boosting them and selling them. Maybe that'll be a thing again. I don't know. So that is, you'll see, Wicker's new album is going to come out on cassette, so check that out, keep an eye out for that. Just kidding, that's not going to happen. I was thinking of doing a vinyl for Wicker, but the mixing on the vocals is pretty bad, so probably won't do that. Also, precursor, I guess, to the show, it's not for kids, so, there's naughty words in this. Since it's a new show, I guess I could still do that disclaimer. But, yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the opinions I have. I have no one to bounce off of. we're moving on to the next topic. Terrible segue. But yeah, more news. Oliver Tree, if you've seen the interview he did with the Needle Drop or anything like that recently, how he's like, oh, fuck the industry, the music industry sucks, I just wanted to direct stuff and make movies, and I had to do this and sign with these labels, and they're fucking me over. And, yeah, so he's probably not going to release a new album. If he does, maybe he'll do it on, his own name or something like that. But recently, I actually found out that he used to go under the alias Tree. So not Oliver Tree, but just Tree. I would recommend his album Splitting Branches. That's a pretty good one. It's got cool sound design. One of the tracks, I don't really vibe with the We Are the Universe. That one's kind of stupid. It's like, oh, I just took some acid and sung him. It's like an acid grounding song or some shit, but yeah, it's too hippie for me, I guess, is what I'd say. But every other song on that album, I'd say is awesome. Go check it out. It has similar vibes. It's before he did the whole 90s, 80s aesthetic or whatever. And he was just wearing a poncho. He still kind of had a style and specific sense of being, which is pretty cool for an artist. But yeah, instead of playing up the meme part and the 90s shit and just being all about music videos and stuff, he did some pretty interesting music videos, I guess. But yeah, you can see a lot of similarities in how he grew and evolved into, I guess, The Tree was just his first project that he had a pretty good grasp on things. Then he completely knew what he was doing with the Oliver Tree stuff. So there's that. Yeah, so check that out if you want to. We might just rip through all these. Also, it's an early morning podcast, which is weird because we were supposed to do it last night, and then yeah, everyone bailed. So we're like, let's do it this morning. Kind of failed there too. So yeah, but yeah, and also yeah, I'd recommend Splitting Branches. If you haven't heard of Oliver Tree, then maybe just check out his top tracks. If you don't like it, you don't like it. For some reason, it gives me a nostalgic feeling anytime I hear a new Oliver Tree song. So I guess that's kind of why I like it, but I don't know, it's also it's well produced, and he doesn't really have that much to say on the Oliver Tree stuff. It's more of a meme. Yeah, scope that. Speaking of Oliver Tree, follow up on the Kanye story that we did last time, oddly enough. So labels and managers are actually looking into creating a better understanding between the relationship of the artist and the label. Most likely pushed forward because of the Oliver, talking mad shit on his label. Also, the Kanye stuff definitely had something to do with it. I got a link about this in the description. I'm just going to pull it up because I forgot to before. As any shitty podcast would do, forget to have anything ready. But yeah, so on this, another NME article. That's the whole news. We used to go to news.org, now we go to NME.com for all of our music news. We're getting lazy, folks. It's the second episode, we're already getting lazy. Okay. So yeah, if you pull up the link, you can. It's like a little play along at home, Play along at home. You click on the link, you see what I see. Whoa, we're like the same person. We're in the same space. It's crazy. Yeah, so according to the article, it has to do with Kanye pissing on his Emmy in protest. Even the app shows, so they made an app. It shows how badly artists are getting fucked up front, and they don't even own their music after, for the most part. Yeah, so they lose a ton of money. They all these cuts go to these different, management, production, labels, all this. So they don't see any of the money, and then also they don't even own their own music, which is why Kanye was getting all bitchy about it. And it's we were talking about it last time, but Kanye doesn't, he shouldn't, he fucked up and signed with these labels. I'm sure management said, oh, it's a good idea because they want to, cover their asses, make sure they get paid. But yeah, it's he just fucked up. He's like, oh, that's just how it is. It's like, no, it's not how it is. And then that's why you're like pissing on a Grammy in protest, because if you knew you didn't have to do that shit, then you wouldn't have done that shit. And now you're realizing it and like, oh, let's bring this to light, which is good. The more people are knowing, hey, don't sign with the label. Same thing with the Oliver Tree stuff. That's why he's speaking out. It's like, yeah, I just want to be a director anyway, because all these fucking record labels and shit, they don't let me do anything. It's terrible. Get it. Yeah, that's good. Any opinions from anyone else on the podcast? Oh, wait, it's just me. I'm going to keep bringing it up. I'm a little sour. Sorry. It's been been an odd couple of days. But I don't care. It's a podcast. You want to listen? Listen, it's fine. It's good to have contrary opinions and stuff, but if not, whatever. Just listen to my stupid ramblings. I'm like the main guy at audio withdrawal anyway, so whatever. Yeah, it's pretty much just don't sign up with the label if you want to make money. Only reason to sign would just be, to get exposure and more plays. And people like Kanye and those guys don't really need it. Some more indie artists and like underground artists, it helps them a bit, just getting their name out there and getting to book shows, stuff like that. So, it does have its use, but if you're expecting to make a ton of money by getting signed and stuff, no. Don't sign a long contract. Don't sign maybe a year or something like that, just something reasonable. But, yeah. You can have representation, but... okay, making sure this is recording. Apologies, I also got a new tripod pad for my microphone, so I don't have to hold it the whole time. And sorry if I have weird bumps and stuff. I'm still figuring out the setup, because I'll have this tripod out, and then I also have the other mic that I don't even need to use because I'm not talking over Discord this time, but yeah. And then I hope the stereo recording, I should just put it into one track and all that, but hey, we're still figuring out the podcast, and we're figuring out how it works with 3 people, how it works with one person, one fella, what works, what doesn't. We're all just along for the ride. Give it, I was gonna if you don't like you don't like this, you don't like the show, hey man, give us 50 episodes or something. We'll figure it out eventually. I don't know. Give it a year. Fuck. Norm Macdonald's show, that's the exception, not the rule. You can't just be great out the gate like that. He's been on TV forever, we did a podcast before, but it was just garbage. This is way better than the last podcast, but even when it's just solo. We're going to give it. Yeah, what I'm saying, you don't like it now, you come back in a year. See if you like it. You'll have grown, I'll have grown. We're just like a plant. We're planting a seed in your mind. We're brainwashing and controlling you. Yeah. But yeah, back to this. Don't sign with any labels for a long time. If you're new, it can help you, but yeah. Lesson learned. Kanye, thank you. Thank you for shedding a light. A light. Jesus is Kang. I'll believe you. We got some fucking hibiscus LaCroix up in here. Sponsor of the show. We'll never get sponsors on this show, don't worry. We have integrity. Until Raid Shadow Legends comes in. Okay. Next segment. Next meme. We'll do the worst and best tracks of the week. This episode might be actually really short just because we're not going to get worst and best from other people and not have the album breakdown from anyone else. We'll do a quick Bilinda Butchers album rec in the next episode with everyone else, but yeah, we can't go into super detail because we have to move on to other albums. But okay, worst track of the week. Mine is Feel Like I Do by Vin Diesel. I saw some Antoine Fantoine video about it and looked into the song, read the lyrics. Holy shit, is it bad? It's not bad. It's well produced and stuff because it's through Kygo, his handle or his label, kind of thing. So the tropical house stuff, it's basically sounds like a Kygo song with Vin Diesel singing over it. Very sweetened. But it's basically, if you want to listen to it, maybe we can pull it up. I think I have my headphones on. Let's Koji just messaged me, why not just hold off? Nah, it's fine. Okay. So let's pull up The Boy. And just give you a quick brief sample of Feel Like I Do. Vin by Vin Diesel. Okay. Yeah. We'll skip around this a bit. Yeah, he's got like a super like droney voice. Yeah, I don't want to get super copy struck. Especially from Kygo, I don't want to give them any fucking money because all they do is make the same song over and over. Yeah, it's for Coachella festivals, stuff like that. And I think he's made 2 songs, his whole discography, if I remember right. Yeah, Vin Diesel. Yes, Feel Like I Do, and then... Oh, shit. Did he get rid of the old one? I think he had another track that he just got rid of. That's kind of funny. Yeah, like the day it released or the day after it released, I played it. Or like the week of. Yeah, he had another old track that he's like, no, that's not what I want. Now I want to be the summer EDM jam guy. So that's cool. Yeah, Palm Tree Records, that's Kygo's label, which is, it's just Tropical House. And so if anyone else makes Tropical House, no, fuck them. It's not real. It's not legitimate. They have the formula. They copy and paste that formula, and that's Tropical House. That's how EDM works. It's basically a marketing scheme to, it's like making a template for a video, making a template for, you just make a template for a song genre, and then just copy paste, put Vin Diesel in there, get extra hits. Kygo's label is living in it. So there's nothing there. It's basically the lyrics are me like girl make me feel good, this feel good hit of summer. That's kind of the mind track of Vin Diesel, I think. He's kind of monkey brained. He's fucking hilarious. If you've like watched any of his, he does like streams and stuff, and like red carpet streams, and one stream he just like forgot he was streaming, put his phone in his pocket, and he's like, oh shit, the guy's a legend. He's such a monkey brain, but it's it's great. I'm proud of him for, making a career and doing his thing and being Vin, just meathead Vin. I love it, but it's just on a principalic level, that shit sucks. It's not good music. I give it 0 star. Kygo being the leading Tropical House producer, with Palm Tree Records being a tell-all name, it seems. Overall, it is a nothing sandwich of a song. Didn't need to be made. Only reason people listen to it is because Vin Diesel, and because people review it because of Vin Diesel, so it's a cyclic kind of thing. Like I said, it's well produced, so it's a fine track, but there's just nothing there, and it's a cash grab. Moving on to the best track of the week. So my pick for the best track of the week is the first 2 tracks off of Joji's new album, which is one of the new album drops. Hell yeah. Let's pull up some Joji. Let's get some Joji in the mix. How about it? We got his new album, Nectar. Bente Bente. It just came out like a week or so ago. But this So these first 2 tracks, very, very slow jammed. Ew and Modus. But they all have sweeping... Oh, dude, is it going to pick up the phone? Yeah, it's going to get the phone sound in it. Apologies if you get the phone sound in the recording, but... which I don't know, is that like Bluetooth or something? Or some sort of frequency? Maybe a cellular frequency? Oh, I'm sure it's a cellular frequency, yeah, because... that phone sound's been around forever. But yeah, those first 2 songs, I'm a sucker for the orchestral swells and like the dramatic chord changes and the orchestral romance of both of those tracks. They really set up the new album quite well, so I'm recommending them as a package. If you like them, check out the album. If not, just listen to the singles, and he might have some stuff for you. It's kind of similar. It's, he has tracks that are more like heavy hitters, stuff like that. But it's all like the... So, yeah, most of the album, this singing, you can kind of get off those first 2 tracks. Stuff like that. I like how, like, in the first track, too, it has this big orchestral build-up, and then the strings kind of start getting... like off-key, like by semitones, and just kind of breaking and falling apart. I think that's pretty cool. So, yeah, check that out. And then, so that's my best tracks of the week. I guess I got a twofer. I guess it's kind of cheating. Apologies. So yeah, check those out, or the singles. And then check out the album if you like any of that. All of this, any recommendations we have, it's all subjective, so you might like some stuff we recommend on this, you might not. Some of it's more popular, some of it's more underground, some of it's whatever. So feel free to check all that. We got some bonus stuff. The bonus stuff is what I brought out in the beginning of the podcast. I was saying, hey, we got some awesome new album drops. That's why I was super stoked to do this podcast. It's kind of timely, so... Yeah, it sucks we couldn't get the whole gang in on it, but that's fine. So basically, what we want to do is... Fuck, I'm just losing track. This is why I need a team. So when I lose track, when I go off the rails, I got someone to pick up the slack. I can't be the be-all, tell-all. So this is why you can skip all the solo ones in the future if it happens again. If we don't get good notice. But yeah, the bonus, a new album drops. So... Deftones dropped a new album. Ohms, that's a new album. Talk about this briefly. I don't know. Apparently, so I wrote a bit of a review for it, and apparently in the future, like in the like Metacritic, some sort of rating systems, people were kind of saying, "Oh, it's one of their best albums. It's like critically acclaimed. It's great." And I don't know. When I wrote the review, I wasn't really thinking of that. I was kind of coming off their more recent stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. I like their more recent. A lot of people don't like their recent stuff. But I like, the passionate droning chord exchange and the instruments like gore. And, since after like Saturday Night Wrist. But, this new album, it's kind of underwhelming. It doesn't have that kind of passionate droning chord exchange. And in their like last few albums, I kind of expected at least a few of those kinds of ballady, powerful vocal parts. Since back to Saturday Night Wrist album, they've been kind of doing that. Since like Hole in the Earth and all that, because they kind of had that in the beginning albums and stuff. It seems like, they're more going back to like their earlier kind of orchestration and song production with this new album, but instead they're kind of like, they're not getting it right. It seems very one note. Like, I like some of the tracks on it, but there's nothing unique about. They all kind of seem like the same track, if that makes any sense. Apparently sonically people are saying it's like one of the best albums. I don't think it's super... there's nothing too great going on there, but... Yeah, it seems like they're just trying to get back to their earlier stuff, and they're kind of falling flat because there's no variety. And there's no, especially because they can't really do core vocals anymore, screaming too heavy. So they're trying to get that feeling, but without having the vocal stuff there. Like the songwriting and stuff like that is good, like most Deftones stuff. But let's see what I have here. Yeah, they have more of an ambient synth theme going on for this album. Ambient synth theme going on for this album. And vocally or lyrically, they're just going back to the harsh vocal stuff from their early works, but the no core stuff. Just don't have too much variety. It seems very one note as I see it. As a huge fan of Deftones, I really do like all of Deftones stuff from their first album to Gore. This one was just kind of disappointing. I guess I just had my hopes way too high. I still like the album. I just wish they put a bit more character into it, besides just the lyrics. Still a good listen if you like Deftones. I definitely recommend it, but I don't think it's going to be one of my top picks personally. So, yeah, check it out if you like Deftones. If you don't like Deftones, maybe check it out. A couple of tracks. They have some, I guess, singles. They didn't release anything as singles, but there are some that are more on top of their charts for now. Those might fade away quick. I don't know. A lot of people really like it, so I'm glad people like it. I was just kind of underwhelmed. Yeah, the other new album drop, Joji's album. I was going to have Koji talk about this one more. I'll save that for the next podcast. We'll just do a quick rundown. But yeah, Joji's album. I will say one thing. I did watch it at Vasa Fitness. I was listening to it while I was watching Aquila and the Bee, and it was really emotional. It was fucking... it was just so weird how it synced up really well to like... oh, she's studying and she's fucking grinding on like the heavier tracks, and then it's like, oh, she's in this fucked up neighborhood, and yeah, she's just like making it through, and like the more, like the more romantic, slowed down kind of tracks or whatever. Yeah, it's fucking so like driving. It's so weird that it's so powerful. Yeah. I was gonna talk about that with the squad, but yeah, that's that's the only take I have. I'll say that for next podcast. Koji can talk about it a bit more, but yeah, so definitely sync those up. It's kind of like the Dark Side of the Moon and Paul Blart, something like that. Okay, how are we doing on time? We're like 30 minutes in. That's cool. Okay, so and then another album that just came out is Sufjan Stevens, which is kind of ironic because I was going to recommend, since Josh isn't doing the recommendation this week anymore, I was going to recommend a Sufjan album. But yeah, he has a new album out. Let me get the name right so I don't fuck it up. Sufjan. And this is Sufjan something. But the Ascension is the name of the album. It's more along... I didn't listen to it too much. I did some speed running and listened to the album. I listened to it as background noise. It's more like if you like the Age of Ads, which is their like big album that they did in 2010. So it's similar to that. God, it's been a while to put out stuff like that. So yeah, 2010 they did Age of Ads, or he did Age of Ads, and then 2015 he did Carrie and Lowell, and then after that there's been like side albums, but until for about the last 5 years hasn't been like a big main album, and the Ascension is a big one. So instead of like some albums he does like just all banjo, some albums he does all guitar and stuff, but this one is more like the electronic and like weird sound design, weird percussion kits that he makes, stuff like that. I'd say give it a listen. I didn't listen to it like too thoroughly because I've only been listening to it for like the past couple of days, so I can't give any like song recommendations. But and plus, Deftones and Joji's album came out. It's kind of clicking on those pretty hard, on those. So not too much Ascension going on. But yeah, still recommend it if you like Sufjan Stevens, however you say that boy. He is a good boy. There's like a lot of Christian lyrics in it, but yeah, that's kind of what he does. But he's a wonderful storyteller, great orchestrator, composer, and songwriter. So Yeah, I don't really mind the Christian stuff because he's just a great storyteller. But yeah, check it out. So yeah, that's the albums that dropped. And now we can I'll kind of go briefly over the Bilinda Butchers Night and Blur album. We'll go over it more next podcast, I guess, just to get the takes from the other boys. But yeah, so I think it's an awesome album. It's actually very good tone setting. I could just quickly go through each track. So yeah, the Night and Blur, it's a nice album tone setting track. Fast and Loose track regaling on midnight bar hookups, really synthy with spacey vocals and instruments, a very 80s vibe. Second track, Low, is similar to the first one, but a bit more upbeat, contrasting the lyrics about betrayal and depression. So it's a lot of like emotional tracks in this album, and they all kind of tie together. Track number 3, Matter 2. I believe this was Josh's favorite. He found a good like sync up mashup between this song and another song. Basically, it's back to being mellowed out. The telephone in the cutscene... What? The telephone in the cutscene turns into an instrument, even. Oh, yeah. I don't know why I have, like, this weird expression in my notes. But, yeah, the telephone, the UK telephone ring turns into an instrument. And it just like immerses the tracks with themselves and like the story and like the atmospheres of. There's little cutscenes between a lot of the tracks where it's like, yeah, just putting you in a scene and just getting you emotionally invested and building a world, kind of like a game or a film, which is pretty cool. Definitely enjoy that. Lyrics step into emotions of wanting to be loved or matter to anyone, so they're desperate for some sort of attention. Track number 4, Do It Right. Song is more dreary and funky, kind of like a dim-lit alleyway with breakbeat drums backing to low, slow synth leads. More lonely and faded lyrics, leaning on non-effort hookup bar talk. So yeah, there's a lot of like romance lyrics, but it's more like get drunk at a bar and one night stand, hookup, stuff like that. Track number 5 is Lights Out. It's a breakup track about toxic relationships, just wanting some clarity or honesty as closure before it's done. A very mellowed out track with some more straight up lyrics in the form of a phone call. This is the first track to not have a stitching bit between the end of the track to the next one. A lot of these just like blend together very well, but this is kind of like the midway of the album, and they just cut it right in half. Kind of think is 5. Yeah, there's only 10 tracks. Yeah, that's the end of the 5th track. So track 6, Rari. I can't remember. I think it says it in the song, but I haven't listened to it in a second. The acoustic guitar track turned more indie orchestral. It's another breakup track, but this one asking for forgiveness, filled with regret once the relationship is viewed at a distance. No in between here either. So this is also a track that doesn't blend with other tracks. However, the next track, Bishop Weed, the start of the second half of the album, phone call for lyrics talking about being miserable in general, picks back up to speed of the album with a liquid bass, old school dubstep kind of beat at the end of it, and then it flows just beautifully into the next track called See Ya, track number 8. It's just continuing the theme of love lost in this track through nostalgic lenses, knowing they'll not be together again, wondering where their partner went, blended from the last track. It's blended from the last track into a liquid bass rhythm beat. So, these are getting more dubsteppy, liquid bass, old school, stuff. We're still recording good. So yeah, just really that kind of stuff. And track number 8 got a 420 timestamp. Nice. Blaze it up. Track number 9 next. Is It Real? Mellows out to a reverby, wispy beats and lyrics. Orchestra in the distance. Goes back to the liquid bass break beats after that. And comes back to some orchestral stuff at the tail end. It's still on the love lost vibe. Coming to terms that he'll never be able to love again compared to what they had before because it's just too perfect. The 3 tracks here blend together like one track, and I thought they were actually one track the first time I did a blind listen. So yeah, 7, 8, and 9, they just blend together really well, and I thought they're just one track. And then, closing track, Last Train. It's back to the world building for the closer. Starts at a train station ambience, goes across the genres as the album as a whole, and kind of as a, just a wrap up, like, oh, here's the whole thing. What's going on? Lyrically, it closes out the Lover Saga with a suicide note-esque closer. Not sure if it's a relationship suicide as a metaphor, like not wanting to date again, or if it's more literal. It's a beautiful composition and a perfect closer for the album. Overall, it's a really cool album. I guess I'll save the overall for next time, but that's kind of the breakdown I got from the album. Normally we'd go into more depth and detail and break these songs apart. But yeah, this podcast, not so much. Just because I am solo chilling. Let's pull up some of the Belinda Butchers. The Belinda Brother. Bilinda Butchers. Yeah, Bilinda Butchers. Low. Okay. So yeah, let's give you kind of a idea of what it's all about. So yeah, a lot of this kind of, it's kind of like spacey, I guess like 60s neon light kind of feeling. But they have a lot of different like cutscenes through. This is what I was talking about, where the phone, kind of blends into the beat. I can't play enough for the phone to actually blend into the beat that much, but yeah, it blends right there. Bishop weed. Yeah, this is where you get the liquid based shit. Just blending through. But yeah, so that's kind of a feel for the album. It's got a lot of love lost lyrics, and yeah, not too much outside of that. But yeah, it's like kind of a story, like meeting people and having that one true love and stuff like that. And it's a good album as a whole to, just have a story as a whole. Why not use that as a canvas to, write a kind of screenplay thing? So there's that. It's a good album, and like I said, I'll save the overall for next time when we talk about it a bit more. So this. And let's do some game, film, Rex. Yeah. Real quick, we'll just close this up. I guess we'll kind of stick to like a 45-minute podcast this time. But yeah, so some recommendations. I guess we'd normally go over some game and film music Rex. These we won't really talk about too much. Just gonna say what's good and go off that. This time I'm going to recommend Ori and the Blind Forest, that soundtrack. I've done reimaginings of that soundtrack, and, it's like one of the first videos I think I did on my YouTube. So, yeah, I love that. Even Ori and the Will of the Wisps, the composer Gareth Coker is really wonderful at doing themed compositions and stuff. So, recommend that. I won't say too much about it, but it's very orchestral and sweeping and goes with the game amazingly. Also play the game. Good game. If you like Metroidvania shit. After that... Oh, yeah, we're going to do hacker underrated stuff, which maybe we'll do in the next couple of... me and Josh were talking about Blood on the Dance Floor and how they're still putting out albums that they're doing the same song that they did back in like the 2000s. They have not changed one bit, and it is hilarious. They were bad then and they're bad now, in my opinion. If you like them, that's cool, but they're kind of trash. But if you liked them back then, you'll like them now. So good news for that. Since Josh isn't here to do his album recommendation, I am going to do an album recommendation this week. And like I said before, Sufjan Stevens, he put out a new album. I was going to recommend this album before, but then when it came out, I was like, oh fuck, well I have to now. So the Carrie and Lowell album by Sufjan Stevens. So I'd say either listen to just the normal album or listen to the live version. And yeah, or both. I don't know. Like, I listened to the normal album like a ton, and then I love it so much to listen to the live album. The live album has some extra songs that aren't in the original album, but yeah, they build off the same kind of themes, stuff like that. It's basically an homage to his family who's passed on and coming to terms with that and like stuff in the past. But like I said, just really great songwriter. It's all very like soft spoken lyrics. Very similar style throughout the entire album, and I like acoustic guitar kind of stuff. It's very chill. I'd recommend like midnight listening, or just very moody vibe kind of listening for that. But yeah, so feel free to check that out. And then we will talk about it on the next podcast, as well as we'll quickly go over the other stuff there. The other albums that we talked about here that we were supposed to do as a group, but since they couldn't make it, totally cool. We'll do it next podcast. But break down those real quick. And then, yeah, some outro and plugs. I will plug just the Bandcamp. Check out the Bandcamp, because I put a whole bunch of new albums, sound design albums, game music albums, just stuff we've done over the years. I'm trying to collect everything, put that all out, and then move forward and do new projects. So check those out. We did... I could pull up some samples. Do I have... So yeah, big ones. Adaptive Game Music Collection. Those 3 videos we did on adaptive game music. Misleading Scores Collection. Did I do links for that? I should. If not, yep. No, they have like the YouTube links as well for the videos that go along with them. Red Panda Shop. That's a new game music sound design. The HOC, Crawl Into My Bones, AWOL, Curious Case of Jenny Death. All those have been set up. We're going to also release YouTube videos on those later before the end of the year, just as a profile for resume work, and hopefully get some more gigs. But yeah, feel free to hit me up at audiowithdrawal@gmail.com if you have any commission requests, and if it's doable, I will let you know. But yeah, so that was the podcast, solo style this time. Apologies, you just have to listen to me talking about whatever I think is whatever I think, and have no contrary opinion. I'm glad I'm not editing this podcast, because I'd hate to listen to my voice back for this long. I hope you didn't hate it as much as I do, but that's how it be, that's how it do. I think that's it. Bye.